All right, good afternoon and welcome, Slim Science Seekers, for another episode of The Finance. How is money going to affect our abilities to get to a slimming science, and what does it mean for us who are in that quest? This article comes from Medscape and was published November 13th, 2023, originally from Reuters Health, and written by Maggie Fick and Jakob Gronhold Pedersen. Today's topic is Novo Nordisk seeks obesity, diabetes, bolt-on deals. So a bolt-on deal, just to by the by, is when a company is buying other companies or other capabilities. They want something that will bolt onto their current strength to make them even stronger. So typically, and what Novo Nordisk is going to do is buy smaller companies. They're not looking to be acquired, but to acquire smaller companies or technologies that will make them even stronger. So Novo Nordisk wants to buy more companies with drugs in the early to mid stage of development through bolt-on. And this comes from the CEO, Lars Fergerand Jorgensen. Their company, their finances have just soared due to Wegovy, and so they have ample cash in order to do this. And so they want to acquire companies that are both within the obesity domain and the metabolic domain, but they want it to include diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, the entire cardiometabolic space. So they're not limiting themselves, and you'll see later on when I get to it, some of their acquisitions and partnerships, what they might hold for us. But they also want to look at rare blood disorders like hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, because they think they already have a strong hold there. The CEO said, we continuously are looking for smaller bolt-on deals in phase 1 and phase 2 of development. So Novo's M&A, so that is their acquisition strategy, focus on disease of therapeutic areas where the company has a deep biological understanding. And in just a minute, you'll see exactly where those are going, at least the ones that they're talking about publicly. They're also looking at a set of technologies they want to leverage, which is really exciting news. He said their strengths include protein engineering, and indeed, when I've looked at what they have been doing and what they're doing, and their success, protein structure, function, understanding it at the genomic level to be able to modify on the gene level the protein that they want. So that's their strength. They're able to not only do that in the laboratory, but clearly bring it to market. The company's R&D engine is intact, and so they're not looking at transforming that right away. So he said they are going to invest about $6 billion in a Danish production facility in the coming years. We know maybe if there's any going on at all with Novo, it has been some of the issues that they have had around supply chain, getting their medications out. Maybe not all of them. I should just speak about the one that has impacted me, which is, of course, the semaglutide Wegovy. So last month, Novo agreed to buy a drug for uncontrolled hypertension to be used in cardiovascular and kidney disease from KBP Biosciences for $1.3 billion. So, Novo has been focusing for nearly a century, apparently, on insulin, but with their share prices up 49% this year due to obesity drugs, they've got money to burn. They're doing it wisely. All of this, by the way, is in my opinion. I'm not a financial expert. I am trained in science. I'm a pretty decent scientist, I think, but I'm not a finance expert. But it looks to me their strategy is very good. Last week, when reporting quarterly earnings, so third quarter earnings, they forecast another double-digit year of sales. So let's jump right to that and show you what they're acquiring. So this comes from their third quarter investor presentation. So this is the first 9 months of 2023. Novo Nordisk, a focused healthcare company. Let's jump to the topic of this. This is, by the way, an outstanding report. I'll put the links in the disc. We're going to go to page 26 because we want to see their partnerships and acquisitions support future research and development. So this is what we're looking at. Let's first focus on the top part of this table is acquisitions. The lower half of the table is selected licenses. I'm going to start at 2021. That's somewhat recent. And let's pull in, I just did a little bit of web search on these different companies to help us understand. So Prothena, novel treatment of CVD and rare diseases. So Prothena, we can see over here, neurological dysfunction that includes protein dysregulation, neurodegenerative, and rare peripheral amyloid diseases, including that is important and using their protein folding technologies. Again, very consistent how they're doing that. They also did Dicerna siRNA treatments. So Dicerna Pharmaceuticals, RNAi, small interfering. That's what the SI stands for, small interfering RNA. And we'll do another video on what that actually means. But essentially, these are bits of RNA that can interfere with a process. You might say, why would we want to do that? Well, if you've got something going on that you don't want to go on, this might be a way to regulate that. So it's very cool. In FY22, you can see Forma, novel treatments for CVD and rare diseases. So for Forma, they paid $1.1 billion. And again, these are just ballparks off the web. Probably have it to the cents. They didn't tell me. With an intent to expand its sickle cell and rare blood disorders portfolio. And again, remember that sickle cell has to do with a blood cell that sickles. It has some shape, some structural issues that they might want to use some of these structural protein and changes to more than just make you feel better, but to actually make you better. Again, my guess, just thinking that's what I'd want to do. And finally, in 2023, what we see over here is in Vertigo, novel treatment for metabolic diseases. What do I look at over here? It was for around $1 billion. What's cool here, what I think is cool, is potentially a first in class. So this is the first in class, and they have familiarity with this first in class stuff. CB1 receptor blocker as a treatment for obesity. So INV-202 is an oral CB1 inverse agonist. And so much like GLP-1, although when I say much like, I don't mean on a molecular or a mechanistic level, but much like in the sense of a macro level, this is going to be involved in modulating metabolism and appetite regulation. I don't know enough about this yet on a molecular level, how it's doing it and how this process differs from the GLP-1 process, but they're looking at not just that same old tried and true receptor for GLP-1, right? The GLP-1 receptor. They're going to a first in its new class. So that is very interesting. Not on this sheet and perhaps not on this briefing that was provided. Perhaps this came too late in September 2023. It was posted that there was Paratech Pharmaceuticals. It's a commercial stage biopharmaceutical company that is focused on the development and the commercialization of novel therapeutics for life-threatening diseases, including things like antibiotics. So we know there's a lot of antibiotic resistance. Haven't seen a lot of really new great antibiotics coming out to address that. But with Novo's technologies and insight into both the genomic level, the RNA level, RNA, DNA, both genomic, but also the protein folding and its delivery mechanisms, seems like a really sweet spot for this to go into. So very exciting stuff. But now let's just jump down here to 2022 to selected licenses. So let me reveal that again, selected licenses. So companies or businesses that they have licensing agreement. Let's first take a look at Ventus, novel treatment for metabolic diseases. So Ventus Therapeutic, it has entered into an exclusive license agreement for NLRP3 inhibitor program. So this was in September of 2022, and it's going to use structural biology and a proprietary computational chemistry platform. So again, we'll try to cover this in another video. Can't talk too much about it here without taking a long time. But essentially, they're using not just their technical skill, but they have some very unique and proprietary computational abilities on how to develop small molecule to identify and develop small molecule therapeutics across a broad range of diseases. So that's why they're going this direction. But hello, what is Valo? Novel treatment for CVD and rare diseases? What else does Valo do? Well, they're going to collaborate with Novo to discover and develop novel treatments for the cardiometabolic diseases. Okay, that's same thing they're doing, using human data and artificial intelligence. And as far as the drop-in that I've seen for this particular topic, the selected licenses strike me as very interesting in that they are creating partnerships, licenses with companies that are really heavy into the computational side of their business, help them project what kind of molecule they need. Well, first, help them identify a target that probably is going to be financially beneficial, but that's just me probably being overly, that way, thinking that pharma is all about money. But they're also helping, right? So they're going to look at something that is affecting people. They're going to use their technologies to identify those, to then identify perhaps genomic levels. They're to identify the structure function of a molecule that might either heal it or at least allow for its treatment so people can feel better. Anyway, I think this is really interesting. Again, remember, this is all my opinion, sort of trying to meld my background as a research scientist with my basic understanding, very basic understanding of money and business, and going from there. All my opinion. And with that, let's wrap it up for this segment. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.